hopefully should give it a bit, obviously, for people to flow in. Alright, I've just tweeted it out, and should hopefully start getting people in rather shortly.
Cool, I will retweet it. I can share it to my YouTube channel page.
Awesome. Yeah, that YouTube community thing is very helpful.
Yeah, that's where most of my things come from, to be honest.
Yeah. Hey Sakura, welcome to the stream. We'll be starting in just a bit, everyone. We're just going to wait for a couple more people to flow in, and yeah, then we'll get started. Yeah, I hope everyone is...
My computer has decided to be like, I don't want to live anymore. I
mean, on the top side, your webcam has suddenly increased in quality substantially.
Win. That's probably why. It's probably was like, yeah, let's put all the power to the camera.
Yeah.
I am just going to quit all my applications that do not need to be open right now, because I still have all my work applications open.
Yeah, it's just very irritating when your computer decides to allocate more resources to one thing and then everything else starts dying.
Yeah, to be fair, it seems to be all right now. It's showing up all right.
Good. Yeah. So everyone in chat, I'm here with Tyler today. Yeah, I'm talking to Tyler. I don't know what I was expecting to say after that. But yeah, another Indie Dev chat. This is actually episode 20, which I counted the guests to make sure, and this makes you the 20th guest on the podcast.
Hey,
which is kind of wild. So yeah,
that's like a win. I feel like
we are a fifth of 100.
Yeah, because I am. That's gonna be. That will put out in my bio on.
Yeah,
Twitter.
put it on your CV.
If out of 100.
Yeah. So yeah, this has been going on for about a year and a bit, which is kind of mad. I'm hoping when we get to 2 years for the anniversary, we'll have a lot of guests by then, which is gonna be awesome. So yeah,
you can bring everyone back for one big chat. Have everyone in one chat.
Yeah. The idea at the moment is after every like 3 or 4 episodes or so, that's how I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna actually do these big like a big sort of stream where it's just like 4 people at once.
Nice.
It can be like returning guests, of course. I like having returning guests because you've already spoken to the person, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably what we'll be doing in a couple of episodes' time. But yeah, I'm hoping to have that quite consistent, and consider this, or I mean, not consider this. Keep this consistent. And
yeah.
It should be awesome. Once a week, every Wednesday. It's going well at the moment, so that's good. So yeah, do you want to quickly introduce yourself and who you are, what you do?
I'm Tyler. I make YouTube videos about game development, and I currently work as a web developer in a company called Sync Digital. I have 2 kids, both boys, and that's about it. I make video games.
Sweet. So what games are you working on at the moment?
The current games I'm working on, the main one is Project Fire. It hasn't got an official name yet,
right.
But it's a cool little like indie 2D sort of platformer game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure what I'm going with. I'm kind of inspired by Super Meat Boy. Obviously, all those sort of games.
Yeah.
The other game I'm working on is a game I'm calling Space Traveler currently, which is going to be a cool little indie mobile game. And the final game, which is a new game I've only literally just started, I haven't really done anything, but it's called Body Count. And I have nothing to tell you about that one, but it will be, I'll be doing more updates in the future on it.
Awesome. So now we know who you are. I feel like we'll start off with a couple of questions, and then we'll go into some of the topics. So, what has inspired you to actually create games?
Well, oh god, my computer just froze. Sorry about that. I guess the main thing that inspired me is to build sort of a community. I really enjoy playing video games, and when I was a kid, I always wanted to make my own games. And the thing what mostly got me interested in it was building up some sort of community, because I sort of get people like Danny. I've been following Danny since 4,000 subscribers or something that.
I've been with him since 500 subscribers. So
yeah, it's it's a long time. Yeah. But yes, well, saying that, it's not been a long time because he grew so quickly.
No, he's just
been a short time. But yeah, so people like that, Brackeys, obviously Brackeys is like the OG of this.
Yeah.
And people like that. So that kind of got me interested in actually making games again myself. After watching all these people do it. I've always had some sort of, I've always wanted to do something to do with games. And I guess I just decided to choose game development out of all of the topics, as it was the most fun in my opinion. I've always been a coding sort of person, a programmer. So
yeah, that's cool. So how long have you been doing it? It's only a few months, correct?
Officially a few months. I've been in and out for a few years, but when we're actually starting to do it properly, it's been about 3 months, I'd say, of actually working on making games. So not that long.
Sweet. And have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, well, so far in the short 3 months I've been doing it, I've been a web developer for almost 10 years. So programming side of things just comes naturally to me. But the game development side is obviously more new, the hardest part is coming up with the ideas, the level design and stuff. I really struggle thinking about what would make the level fun. So
yeah, and engaging.
Yeah, but the rest of it, just I spend most of my time playing my own games while testing them. So I think everyone does that. If you don't accidentally play them rather than actually testing them, then you gotta switch something up. Someone asked, do you make PC games or phone games or both? Both, and hopefully console games too in the future. But right now I only have a released game on mobile, but I'm looking to release one of my next games on Steam.
Good.
But yeah, just again, only doing it for 3 months, so hopefully in the future I have it on multiple platforms.
Yeah. I mean, I'm making my way to the console as well, so it's very interesting experience. It's a completely new avenue. It feels it's definitely different. I feel like you sort of really start seeing how much you've grown when you get to a console, because then it's you're going up a level sort of thing. It's mad, yeah. And I think I've almost put I've put so many games on so many platforms now. I've done PC, I've done mobile, I'm going to Xbox. It's mad. But yeah, it's crazy. I've been doing this 4 years now, properly. Well, I say properly. It's hard to say. I mean, I started taking it really seriously about 2 years ago. Was when I started thinking, let's actually do something with my, with my knowledge that I have. And lo and behold, I released my first game. About to start my second project, big commercial project. So it is really crazy. But yeah, so obviously, you took the transition. Well, not necessarily transition, but on your YouTube channel, you went from web development to game development. How do you think that's affected your channel? Has it done anything different?
All my game development videos have negative subscribers because everyone who came for web development obviously is leaving. Right. But the thing is, I'm still growing in subscribers. I've gone up over 1,000 subscribers since swapping. but
Right.
I think I'm making back more subscribers than I'm losing. But if you look at my game development videos, they say I'm losing more, which means people who are following me for web development are seeing that I'm not doing web development anymore, and they've swapped back to being like, okay, let's unsubscribe.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm in that weaning process of like getting rid of the ones who want me for web development and moving on to people who just want game development.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think it's like is your community like quite has been quite robust since the change, or is it sort of just like been a bit, I don't know, like less unified, so to speak? I don't know.
So the ones who have been there from the start are still here. They don't
Right.
care. They really don't care about my swap. They actually, some of them are even happier that I've swapped to doing game development. A lot of people. So there is a few people who still join me for my streams and comment on all my videos who are like, who I've noticed who commented back in when I was doing web development videos. So some people are still just enjoying the content anyway. I
Yeah.
tried to teach more than I tried to show off like my
Yeah,
fun
that's-
side
yeah.
projects.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed with a lot of your videos. They're a lot more giving back to the community sort of stuff. But yeah. So, like, yeah, it must be kind of interesting. How long were you doing like web development YouTube, or was it just like, you know, on and off stuff?
So I started a YouTube channel 6, probably even 7 years ago.
Hmm.
Well, actually, no, it would have been exactly 5 years ago, shall I say, because it was in 2015.
Right.
But I only posted one video, and it was a design video, how to do design. So I actually started off doing design videos, how to use Illustrator. And then I moved on to web development. I posted 2 videos where I didn't talk, but I just had them on there. And for some reason, I didn't post for a long time after that, but they grew me really quickly to like 500 odd subscribers.
Right.
And then I thought, okay, let's start posting some real content on here. And I started posting like videos daily. And suddenly I just blew up really quickly. And then in January of 2020, I posted a video every single day. And my channel went from 3,000 subscribers to 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
In a short space, and then I obviously swapped to doing game development, and now it's jumped up to 14,000, and I've lost a few along the way at the same time. So yeah, it's been really, from web development to game development, it's been it's not too much of a big transition, to be honest. It's obviously a different domain, but at the same time it's still programming.
Yeah, it's still
coding.
development. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think people are still interested. But like with the whole daily videos for a month, that must have been really difficult, right? I mean,
It's the
how
whole reason why I don't do it anymore, I think.
right? Yeah, yeah. Do you wish that you like didn't do it, or is it something that you're glad that you did?
I'm definitely glad that I did, mainly because it obviously the money from a lot more subscribers coming in jumped right up, which has allowed me to buy more gear to do better videos in the future.
Yeah.
So it's boosted my channel not only in the sense of subscribers and followers, but in money wise, it now makes a good amount every month.
Yeah.
Not enough to quit my job or anything, just enough to have an extra bonus to be able to buy, let's say, if I want a new camera, like right now I'm just using my Mac camera. When my next money comes in, which is at the end of the month, I will probably use it to buy a new webcam or new camera to actually hook up to my computer. So just to improve the video quality and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy I've done it. I wish I swapped to game development a bit earlier.
Yeah. I feel like the game development scene is obviously growing all the time. I'm not sure how web development really is on YouTube, but you know, with game development, that is something that's like, it's been blowing up for a couple of years now. It's really started like getting more popular. But yeah, I feel like it would definitely have been interesting to do 31 days of game development videos. I wouldn't even try it. I just
31 days of game development videos would have probably been even harder. Web development is so easy because, well, there's not much to it, to be honest. Like, I noticed I could make a 5-minute video, 10-minute video with web development.
Yeah.
But game development tutorials take me at least half an hour to an hour just to do one of those.
Yeah.
It's like, whew, it's a
Yeah.
lot harder.
I don't know. I don't really feel like it would be worth my time. I mean, I feel like it would definitely grow you so much because the algorithm would be like, oh, look, you're uploading daily. But yeah, I feel like you just plummet.
Yeah.
And I don't think the quality of the videos would be as good.
No, there definitely weren't. If you see, well, to be fair, saying that, actually, the quality of my videos did get better, but as in from a not, they could have been even better if I gave them more time. But because I was doing it daily, I got better at doing it.
Yeah.
Not to say that I spent more time. The content obviously was just the same. It was just me for an hour talking about how you do something, making coding along the way. But the people, the actual. My actual editing got a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think that's what boosted. Well, that's what actually boosted my channel. Just getting better at doing the actual content. I created a actual intro and stuff like that. So it kind of it evened itself out, I think.
Yeah. That's interesting. I feel like it's quite interesting to hear that, because I wouldn't even think of doing like daily. Weekly is tough for me as well, to be honest, because like I've got 2 commercial projects I'm working on, and it's like that's a lot of stuff on your shoulders. So even like weekly, I had to sort of tell myself, it's fine if you miss a week and you do it the next week. And that's why I'm doing this like podcast thing, because like I can get away with having like multiple weeks where I don't post anything. I could just do this podcast for weeks and weeks, and it'll be that would keep me up like pretty well. I'd say it probably would do just about enough. But I like to get some videos out there because it's still I'm still on YouTube, so I want to make some videos rather than just all streams.
Yeah. Well, see, I've been doing 5 videos each week. Currently, that's what my current standard is. I haven't done one today. Literally, today was the first day I skipped it, although I feel like I'm making up for it by jumping on your podcast. So I feel like I've still done something which gets me out there. But yeah, I've been doing 5 every single day, but today I skipped it because I wasn't feeling too well. I had a dry throat this morning, and the only time I can actually make videos is during my lunch break.
Right.
And I think it's when you're doing tutorials, it's not as hard to get the content. I can spend half an hour recording, and that's all I need. Whereas if I'm making a devlog, I have to spend hours collecting the footage.
Making a devlog is that's a thing that takes it takes a long time to make one devlog. But yeah, I feel like it sometimes it can pay off, but other times it doesn't. I feel like tutorials pay off more because you're giving back to the community and you're helping others out, and people are more like welcoming to helping you out in return.
Some people aren't saying that, because I had a guy message me the other day who does YouTube and he has a course, and he said I pretty much covered everything on his course. Now his course is worthless, and I turned around and like, I'm sorry, dude. I feel like people should be able to learn for free. They should be able to make a career for free. You shouldn't have to pay for so. I mean, yes, I get like most people's career are built on making courses. But the thing is, courses are definitely going to be much more higher quality.
Yeah, they're going to be higher quality than your videos. Yeah, and exactly. The thing is, like the whole point of like game dev on YouTube, or a lot of it, is actually the fact that you can learn so much from YouTube. So like people aren't, especially considering the fact that a lot of the people that are getting into game dev are pretty young and they don't have money. Like they're not, they can't just splash the cash. It's not really that possible, and some people don't want to do that. If you're an adult, you may not want to like waste your money on something that may not be successful. So I feel like learning for free, that's basically sort of how schools are. So should sort of be the same thing. I mean, obviously they're not completely free, but they're like the basis of it is free. You can go to a library and read a book for free. You don't need to have like money to buy or to read a book.
Yeah, so I just see a message from Rob Lang who said, old people don't have cash either. My kids eat all mine. I 100% understand you, Rob. I understand your pain. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying there. Not every old person or elder person has a hash cash either, but
yeah,
they have more cash.
Yeah. 1 devlog a week for me is a lot, and I need to get started again. Been on hold for a while, but you get better and better every week. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, it's the practice makes perfect ideology, where as you progress through and you make more and more like videos, you're definitely gonna, your quality is gonna really increase like dramatically. But I feel like it's also like, I think Danny is a good example of this. Like putting time and effort into the videos pays off. Like, you know, Danny is definitely a pretty good example of that. He's only released, he hasn't released that many videos, and he's already got 1 million subscribers.
Oh yeah, he has way less videos than I do, and he's already 10 times, well, 100 times more subscribers than I do.
Yeah.
It's incredible. He's like insanely thing. I spoke to him today actually, or yesterday, talking about. I asked him if it would be alright if I made his Bulls game as a tutorial, and he was so chill about it. He was like, yeah, of course, man. It'll be good publicity for his game as well, pretty much. So.
Yeah, like Danny's so chill as well. Like he's so chill with every developer. He's just like, yeah, you know, do what you want. It's mad. He's only like 2 years old and has 1.2 million subs. Yeah, he hasn't been even doing YouTube for, like, at least game dev YouTube. He hasn't been doing that for ages, which is mad. I think the expectation is that it is free. Blender is free, Unity is free, Godot is free, setting up a channel is free. Free has become the default. Yeah, I think that could also be a bit of a negative thing for when you actually get to the release stage of your game. Like, people are less willing to actually, you know, like, what's the word, like put the money in and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's as big of an issue, but I feel like, yeah, from developers, like, but it also makes it so the games are quite unique, which is quite a good thing, because people are less likely to buy from, like, you know, like the asset store and stuff, you know, because there was that time where asset flips were coming up every 2 seconds, but now you have that, you know, a lot less. And, you know, now it's like asset flips they're not really a thing. Like, you can get away with buying a couple of assets, and, you know, obviously you're probably going to do that every couple of times. Yeah, but it is weird. It's definitely weird.
Definitely, yeah. It's the mindset though, isn't it? If people want to buy your game, let's say, if someone wants to buy your course, they know it's good. They know it's going to be worth paying for. They're not going to pay something out of, well, some people might just buy it because they like who you are or something. But
I think that's a lot less likely,
Yeah, exactly. Like, most people will buy it if they think there's quality in it, whereas YouTube videos, they're free because you don't have to put as much effort into it. People know you don't really get anything from it. Like, one of my YouTube tutorials probably made 38 pence. The other day, one of my videos made, like, after the first day, it's always like the pounds, maybe 90p. In dollars, it's about £1.30 or $1.30. But yeah, like, after that, once that first hype day's gone, you're making like 7, maybe 6p. Whereas a course, people pay £10 to £20 just to get that course, and then they've got that tutorial, that course. So.
If you get 1,000 people buying that course, you know, that's already a successful course.
Exactly. People can go on YouTube. You just need to get their interest.
Yeah. I think when was it? Yeah, someone said, but you can see on YouTube, the further you get in releasing your game, the less tutorials there are. And I would 100% agree with that. I think that that's something that I want to maybe start making a couple of tutorials on. Whilst they may not be as popular, I know for a fact that for me, a lot of my problems that I've faced have been towards the end of development of the game. There's nothing out there. Literally, there's barely anything on Steam, like, how you set up Steam with Unity, like, you know, how you set up leaderboards with Unity, how you set up, like, the Xbox with Unity. Like, it's so outdated, and I just think it's something that definitely needs to be added onto, and I feel like that's probably something that I'm going to start doing myself because nobody else is actually doing it, and hopefully I can help some people out when they get all the way to the end of their development process, because, you know, it's definitely something that is often overlooked. One of the things that's often overlooked is, like, you know, not the production phase. The production phase, you know, that's covered, but, like, right at the end, or, like, you know, post-production sort of thing, like nothing is there really. And the stuff about like how to integrate it with stores and stuff like that it's very minimal. And I think that's where the courses would be good. Like that's where if you want a successful course, I feel like like the course would be successful if you did something that helped people at the end of development, because there's literally I kid you not, I went with the Xbox thing, like trying to figure out how to do all that. I had to do it all on my own with like no resources out there, and like sometimes you could sort of search it up in like Unity forums or like Stack Overflow, wherever, but literally there was just nothing, and eventually I got it, but like I had to really sift through everything for at least 4 or 5 days to try and get it actually onto the system. But yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be addressed.
I think if with website stuff, there's loads of things, how you start up a website, how you host a website, how you do all this, but there's like with game development, there's no how do you get your game on Android App Store. There's a few, but most of them aren't great. They're just really limited versions of putting it on the App Store or putting it on Android or uploading to Steam, as you said. So there's not a massive deal of tutorials out there for game development on the later stages.
Yeah, and like with your mobile game, like this is what I found. I'm not sure if there are tutorials out on it. Yeah, have you done like leaderboards with your game at all?
No, I actually wanted to, but I just haven't had time yet to add them in.
Yeah. So. What about like what's the other thing? Like ads and stuff.
Yeah, there's ads in the game.
Yeah,
which again took a while to implement.
Yeah,
because I had to figure out.
Yeah, because there's nothing about it. Like literally, like I think I saw a couple of videos about it, but other than that, there was barely anything going on about like, how on earth you actually make a mobile game.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's also because mobile games are less popular than they used to be. I feel like they sort of had their surge and then they went down, and then they're gonna have another surge. Like that's the thing with mobile games; they're always gonna be there. They're just gonna be like having this roller coaster.
Yeah, definitely. Rob said, "Do I game jam?" Yes, I've done one game jam, and I just managed to publish a game, but that was about it. I want to do more game jams. I just never really have time because of the kids, but I'm going to plan to do some more in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, game jams really put your skills to the test. It's absolutely fantastic. I feel like it's definitely not an easy feat, but I think after you've sort of got into the game jam rhythm, it's definitely awesome. Like for me, I've done plenty of game jams. I actually counted how many games I've made overall now. I've now made 12 games, which is quite wild to me. I'm like, so many people can actually release it now, which is mild, But yeah, it is crazy being able to say like I've released games and stuff, even if they're just for game jams. Because game jams, literally what they do is just like they just explode you with creativity, and they really build up like your whole like portfolio, so to speak. Is mad.
Yeah, definitely. It's it's crazy just once you've built a bunch of different games, so just the things like I've started to be able to write. Normally I'd be googling it or researching or using the Unity documentation, but now it's just okay, I know how to do that, I know how to do this. I was always good at maths, so just natural things like that come to me making games.
Lucky for you. For me, I had the opposite because my maths is diabolical. It's awful, and I just came to accept it. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, I don't think I can do game development because of the maths or whatever." But actually, it's not that maths heavy. It does for me. It actually did the opposite of making me feel awful about my math skill. It actually made my math skill improve, and I think, to be honest, as weird as it sounds, it probably helped me pass my GCSEs. It's mad, but I think it's definitely helpful. Wasn't here in the beginning. Have you released any games, Tyler, or are you just doing tutorials?
I have released a game. I've released a game called Banana Toss. It's only on Android. It will be coming to iOS soon. But it's just a small little Android game for now. I plan to release more in the future, but I'm slowly working on them.
Yeah, yeah. I think game jams are one reason that asset flips are rarer these days, as game devs realize they can make their ideas without asset flipping. Exactly. I think the whole growth of game jams has really helped the industry as a whole, because you've probably, there are actually company-wide game jams, like in-company game jams, and to me, like, that's like a dream for me, like, just going to a company and saying, all right, everyone, make a game in a week. I'm like, what? It would be cool.
Yes, that'd be crazy. I'd love to work for a team where randomly you're like, or maybe even like scheduled every so often, you all have to just go and make a game. You got a week and you got to make a game between you.
Yeah,
it's all inside the work environment. I feel like that'd be pretty cool for team building too.
Yeah, I feel like chemistry would definitely be helpful. And I feel like, for me, like, I'm starting uni next year, and like, just hopefully, like, after that, like, my sort of big hope is that by the time I'm going to uni, like, I can sort of start sustaining myself a little bit with game dev, and then hopefully after uni I'll be able to have a little bit of a job, and maybe even, if that doesn't go to plan, try and get a job in a AAA or something like that. But like, for me, like, I don't really want to do a AAA really. That's something that I don't really, I don't really like the whole AAA industry as much, which I think is okay, but it's just something that I don't really want to work for. I like the whole close knit with like indies and stuff, for like a sort of like like you're in a family, and that's definitely what I've found.
Definitely.
I've got I have my own team and everything, and it literally feels like I'm managing like a family. It's weird. Like, you all know each other and everything. It's definitely helpful.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I would never work for a big company, just because the only reason I enjoy game dev is because I can do my own ideas, I can do my own things. Whereas web development, I don't really enjoy doing my job as much as I enjoy doing game development, because I have to do what the client tells me to do or what someone else is telling me to do, rather than my own thing. With game development, I can obviously, indie game development anyway, I can at least give my own ideas across and make my own thing. I'd love to work in an indie team one day, maybe as a sort of small project when I'm more well off. I think building up a small team and actually getting together and doing a big game.
Oh, it is really awesome. I love it. Like, I still, our team's pretty small still, but next project will probably start growing a little bit, hopefully. But the release of the game has definitely been fun. Not necessarily successful, but definitely fun. So, I've just got to keep my head up. And again, like, that's the good thing about being, as young as I am. Like, I can sort of get away with a little bit of, like, I have a little bit of leeway with it, and I'm so glad that I have that, because not a lot of people, have that luxury, and I feel like it's something that a lot of, the young game devs really need to take advantage of. Like, you might as well just get out there and start doing it, and like, because the whole holding back because you're scared, or holding back because you're scared of failing, it's like, well, you probably already failed plenty of times anyway, with game dev anyway. So, like, if you fail again, as with all the other times you failed, you'll learn from the mistakes and you'll just improve anyway. So, it's something that I'm suffering with, like, the whole, like, picking up a new project and stuff. And I keep wondering what the issue is. I'm like, why on earth am I, like, struggling so much with, like, keeping up with a project? And I realise, for me, I don't like working fully alone. Like, I just don't. It's not as, like, fulfilling for me. Like, I used to really enjoy it, but now, since, like, joining a team, or since having, like, this team, I really don't like the whole single player sort of experience, if you know what I mean. So, it's something that, for me though, luckily, like, with the whole having my own team, like, if I have a game that I've been making for a bit, I can say, look, I made this game. What do you think of it? And I can sort of like pitch it to them, and then we can sort of, go around it and see what we can make out of this game and make it into a commercial project. And that's something that I had recently with my new game that I released a devlog on. Like this week, I've just had no motivation for game dev at all, and I've just sort of given myself this week to just chill, because that's something that I haven't really done for so long. At least, since like Millions of Minions release was the last time I had a break, and even before then I didn't have a break for at least 3 or 4 years. So, I giving myself this like a week break is pretty helpful for me, and I can sort of just about get away with it, which is lucky. But yeah, I feel like after this week, if like I don't have the motivation for it, then rather than like forcing myself to work on something that I don't actually have any fulfillment in, like I'd rather work on a project that I can really, really stick to. Because it's not much point in working on this project that like I enjoy, but not to the point where I actually want to keep working on it. Like, that's a really important thing that like a lot of devs, they sort of feel bad whenever they feel like they give up on a project or something. Like they feel like they've let down their community or something. But the thing is with that is that if you beat yourself up about it, then you're gonna keep failing afterwards anyway, because I feel like if you're too scared of like failing, then you're gonna fail. So you sort of have to like be open-minded to failure. Someone said, or Ollie said, game jams are great and all, but once you've done a few, I would recommend committing to a full release, something I should have done ages ago. I definitely agree with that. I feel like after you've done a few projects, you should definitely like just delve right in, because I don't feel like if you make loads of small little projects, you're never gonna get yourself out there, and that's just you gotta really try and push yourself to release a game, which is easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely. Rob said, "Fail fast, fail again, fail harder, fail better." Which I think sums it up really.
Yeah, that's an amazing quote. I'm gonna have that on my wall.
Yeah, I think the main thing is you just got to persevere through as well. Like currently, I mean, I work until 3 a.m. I get up at 7, I go do a workout, and then I'll work on my game until I have to actually do some work, and then I'll hop off. I don't get much breaks. Today is probably the first time I've actually taken a break. But I am planning to take a big break as soon as I can, probably like 2 or 3 weeks just off chilling. I'll continue to do a couple of YouTube videos, maybe tutorials, but from my actual working on games, I'm going to take a break. Obviously, my Twitter is all about motivation and keeping your pace, keeping your strength, but at the same time, you always need a break every so often.
Yeah, no.
I'm not going to tell Twitter that, because then they'll start losing faith in me and think I'm a complete fraud, but I'll just keep telling them to grind every day.
Yeah.
And that should get them motivated to, keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing when I followed you on Twitter, because I can't even remember when I followed you. I followed you a few ago. Like I think it was a share your project thing or something like that. Isn't that what?
I remember. Yeah, I did one with. It was like a chain, wasn't it? There was
yeah. There was a thread. Yeah.
I tweeted out saying, "Can everyone start getting involved?" And someone tagged you in it. You tagged your stuff in it, and then I think Reese was the one who tagged you in it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then I was just like, all right then. So yeah, I think that when I followed you and I started seeing all these tweets out, and I was like, this guy clearly like. I was like, well, at least he's trying to do something, because like not many people really do that. Like, they don't really care about others. As selfish as it sounds, like it's just the truth. You care more, like you care more about showing off your work on Twitter with game dev. But for you, it's like you use Twitter as a whole means of motivating people around you, and I think that is like absolutely fantastic. And it really fits with your YouTube channel. Like with the whole. Like with all your tutorials and stuff, like you're just helping people out, and like we definitely need more people like you doing stuff like this, because it's really is like I've been on the platform, I've been in game dev for long enough to see like how many people have just given up. Like, so many people have just been like, they just sort of drop off, and I'm like, oh, all right, bye. And some people,
they start and
there are also the other people that like sort of they majorly overscope, and you're just like, oh no, you're gonna no, like it's their first project or whatever, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna make a commercial game, and it's gonna be absolutely fantastic. It's gonna have all this RPG stuff and everything, and you're like, oh no, I can see where this is going, and then they drop off, and it's really sad to see. And I feel like people also need to have like some sort of realistic, like some realism in their life, like sort of realizing that actually game dev isn't as easy as like 1, 2, 3. It's like you've really got to, like, 1, you got to persevere, 2, you got to make sure you're actually enjoying what you're doing, and 3, you got to embrace failures. And I feel like if you deny that the fact that you failed, then like, because like sort of being in denial of actually failing, and just sort of like holding on by a thread and just sort of being like, yeah, no, this is going perfectly fine, like, if you keep like holding on to that thread, it will eventually snap, and then your motivation's out the window, and then the whole motivation thing wouldn't be, that it wouldn't be worth it. The problem with being realistic is that you don't know what you don't know. Is that you don't... Yeah.
The problem with being realistic is that you don't know what you don't know. I don't know. Wait, the problem with being realistic is that you don't know what you don't know. I don't know what I don't know. My brain is completely fried from work
We
today.
don't know.
It probably makes perfect sense, but my brain isn't working.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's trying to say that, like, you don't know when to be realistic. Like, I feel like...
like scope, yeah.
Yeah, like... Oh, right, I see what you mean. So he's like, you don't know, like, the skills that you don't have and stuff, like, until you've actually done it and then you fail. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's sort of something that comes in time. That's why you wouldn't start off with a giant project. Like, they always say... They always say, like, start small, and how can you be realistic if you don't know how hard it is? It's a good point. It's a very good point. I feel like that sort of plays into the perseverance thing. And, even if you fail, I feel like people sort of just feel like they have to throw the project away, but in fact, you don't know. I mean, you don't need to, like, throw the project away. You can just put it on hold for a bit and then come back to it. Like, just because...
Learn.
Yeah, like,
sort of thing,
some of the best game devs, they don't make... Well, no, every amazing game dev has not started with this giant game with all this amazing stuff. Like, it's taken some time. Like, look at look at Super Meat Boy. Emma McMillan. He didn't start off with those 2 games. Binding of Isaac and everything. He started with really small titles, and then he sort of built himself up. And the same with so many game devs. They didn't start with a giant project. They all have started with pretty small projects. Like I feel like Eric Barone is probably the only one I can think of that like started pretty big. The Stardew Valley developer. I feel like he started pretty big with it, but I feel like with him, I feel like it was sort of, if I remember rightly, it was sort of his last chance at something. I can't remember, to be honest, but
go big or go home at that point. I think it was, wasn't it? He was, if he didn't succeed on this, he was gonna have to basically. He wouldn't have been able to continue the sort of game dev stuff. So he had to go big or go home.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine he probably did. Well, he must have done some game dev beforehand. You can't expect yourself to be an expert on day one. And if you could, well, like, I mean, props to you if you're an expert on day one. Congrats, I want some of that skill. But, sadly, it doesn't take, 2 seconds to learn. And you really have to push yourself to learn and just learn. Like, that's something that I sort of dedicated some time for myself. I spent about a year... like, for me, like, I just sort of spent a year like really trying to learn as much as I could, and then started showing off my skills to the world. That was what I wanted to do, and it feels like I should have just shown what I could do from the start, and that's something that I wish I had done. But I thought it would be a good idea to spend a year trying to learn it, and then realize that actually I hadn't learned anything.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah. You learn from experience.
Yeah, I started off saying that we said about adding leaderboards to a game. My first actual game I made was for a company. It was for my company I worked for a while ago, and basically I I made the game and I made a leaderboard in it as well. But because I was a web developer, I built the leaderboard as a web development thing. Like I used Node.js to create the leaderboard, and then tried to use C# to bring it in. But I thought that game was going to be easy. It ended up taking me 3 or 4 months, and it's like I could do that game in 2 to 3 days now. But I just didn't know. I had to learn. So I told everyone it'd be easy, and then it took me months to build, and it was like, oh, that spiraled out of control real quick.
Yeah, Ollie said Stardew Valley started as his first game. He wanted to release in a few months, then kind of spiraled majorly out of scope, but he kept with it. Yeah, I feel like Stardew Valley is definitely an outlier. I feel like it's hard to really pinpoint it, because I feel like, well, it's not really a feel-like thing. It's like everyone's sort of different with how their workflow is. Like some people can just, some people have that mind where they can just instantly do it, and some people, like me, I have to build it up and then really get into it. Like it takes me a while, and then when I'm ready, I'm really ready to put myself out there.
Yeah, I spoke to Danny about how he keeps motivated with just one game and getting it done. And he was like, he just has to. He said his mind just triggers some sort of, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's something along the lines of he just sets goals and he just has to achieve these goals every week or something to actually feel like he's doing something. And every time he hits the goal, he obviously motivates himself more to continue. And I think that's how he said he creates this mindset of being able to create Carlson and stuff like that.
Yeah, but even with Carlson, like that's taken a pretty long time.
Yeah.
For what the game is, he had like the Stickman game,
that was an awesome game.
Yeah, it was, and that he had to leave the project because he probably, I mean, I can't remember the reasons behind it, but I feel like that's quite motivational for me when I saw the fact that he actually accepted the fact that he couldn't continue the whole thing of accepting the failure, because sometimes the project's just not meant for you, because some games aren't really things that you really want to work on. You feel like you want to work on it, but you really just don't, and you only realize that after you've already made several devlogs on it. So then you're like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's definitely a juggling act, and it takes a while to sort of realize what your skills are and where you stand and stuff. But I feel like once you've learned, where your skills are, and once you've learned how to keep yourself motivated and stuff, you've got the golden, that's perfection, and you're set really.
Yeah, no, I agree. Once you get to that point, like with the Banana Toss game, that game took me a week to make, and I think that's the most motivation I've ever had to make a game. Once because I feel like I got a lot of progress out of the way early, which just motivated me to just get it done within that week. And then other games, I've spent more weeks on it, but my brain's just gone out the way. It's like, oh, I want to try I come up with a new concept for a game, and then suddenly I lose the motivation to do that beginning game I was working on.
Yeah. Stardew, Carlson, Minecraft, such outliers, they're not really that useful as examples. Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's also good to identify the outliers of it, because then you can sort of compare it. I mean, that's what I'm thinking from my perspective, the whole, analyzing stuff like that. It's very important that you actually identify what doesn't fit into it, and why it doesn't fit into it, because then you can sort of learn, why that is. And I feel like that's just because the human like the human mindset really. I feel like it's just literally because everyone's mind is so different, and like that's why people have different interests and stuff, because they all they're all interested in different stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it sort of applies the same way with like, applying yourself and stuff like that.
Yeah, also with Minecraft, I'm not sure that one was such a different game, because it actually originally was a very simple game.
Yeah.
Notch brought out a world builder, literally where you just drop blocks in, you click the block somewhere. And I think it didn't take him long to build just that beginning demo, which he was just messing around with. He built it. It didn't have really anything in it but building. But people just really loved the game. They just loved the building aspect of it. So I think he made some money from just his first ever demo.
Yeah.
And then he released the first alpha, which was like £5. This when I brought it. And then that's when he was like, actually, his scope went from being tiny to massive, because he already released it pretty much as like alpha, and he was just going to leave it at that. But because so many people loved it, it then grew, and now obviously Microsoft has taken it on, and then he's obviously now not a part of it. But yeah, it's just, I think Minecraft was originally it was a small scope, but because it did so well, it just ended up being a bigger scope, which I think is more motivation at that stage.
Yeah. And going back to with the Coulson and Stardew, I feel like a lot of their motivation also came from their audiences, because with Stardew, obviously, Eric, he really blew up because he had that publishing deal, I'm pretty sure, pretty early on, with Chucklefish, if I remember right. So like that, I feel like that sort of probably kept him quite motivated, and then with Coulson, Danny's audience has grown so dramatically from making this 3D game, and he's like, okay, well, I've gained about 500,000 subscribers from it, so it sort of feels like it's an obligation to him, I reckon. And also then it's an obligation, and two, like, seeing that does really motivate you. Like, I can imagine, seeing, like, waking up one night and, like, you just see this, like, everyone talking about your game and stuff, and being, like, in the top 50 wish-listed games on Steam. I mean, I can't even imagine, that's an indie title, and it's quite interesting, I feel like.
Yeah. When that game actually releases, Danny is going to be a very rich man. That's all I'm saying. It's going to blow up, because I've already got it wishlist, so I'm buying it as soon as it comes out. But it's going to be an incredible. I just really like the game. It just looks really good, and he's adding more to it that I didn't think he was going to add.
Yeah. So I feel like we should start ending off. So if anyone has any questions, throw them over. We'll probably end off in about 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, just throw any questions you have along, and we'll try and answer them as best we can.
Just going to answer Airsoft's question. He said, "Yo, Tyler, could you make another tutorial for 2D shooter game?" Yes, I will be doing enough tutorial on that. Hopefully soon. Once my throat's better, I'll be making more videos. So hopefully next week will be the latest it comes out, buddy.
Yeah, after he's like recovered from doing this podcast.
I can feel my throat going, guys. So just remember, blame Matt for when I don't post a video for a week.
Yeah, if you don't see any motivational tweets on Twitter, just realise it's because of me.
Matt's gonna have to pick up the slack now. He's gonna have to post a video for every single day for next week, just for you guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Matt, it's time for you to do some tutorials on 2D shooter game.
Yeah. I'll send the project files over. Arman's Net T said, "Do you wish to start your own team?" I assume you mean me, because Matt already has his own team.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Hopefully in the future. And blame Matt sounds like a meme. That needs to happen. That is going to happen now, Matt. I'm going to get that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get that on Twitter for you. It's going to be blame Matt. Every time I see anything you tweet, I'm just going to reply to a blame Matt.
People would be like, "You're hating."
Yeah, I do want to start my own team. Just like a small team, just to get some actual games done a bit quicker and higher quality in a quicker time frame. I feel that helped motivate me and the rest of the team as well.
Yeah. Actually, I have a question. How long do you reckon that you're gonna do 2D games? Do you feel like you're gonna advance to 3D sometime, or is it something that you sort of
I want to
against?
do 3D games already. So the
Right,
issue I have right now is I only have a MacBook Pro 2015. I have
right.
two of them. One's the work one and one's my personal one. The work one is the better one. But I can't really be making loads of games on my work Mac because it's for work. But my personal one is just not fast enough. And I used to have a really powerful gaming PC. I spent about 3 to 4 grand on it back in 2015. But the problem was the problem was it got knocked off the side of a desk and shattered the CPU and
Oh
broke
no.
the graphics card, which are the two most expensive bits in the whole machine. And I was like, just never brought myself to buy another one. So I'm currently trying to save up with the YouTube money and the Patreon money to buy a new gaming PC or new rig so I can build 3D games. But it's going to happen one day.
Yeah, Tyler, what's your dream game to make? Assume time/money/money no object.
So if money, time, family, and money was no object, what's my dream game to make? You know what? I don't know if you guys watch anime, but My Hero Academia, I really like it at the minute, and same with Black Clover. But I'd love to make a similar game to how that works. So you all get your own sort of powers, your own quirk essentially, and then you can pick it it'll be an open game an open multiplayer game where you get these abilities like a role playing game. It's a massive scope game, but it would be sorry, not My Hero Academy, My Hero Academia. I'm sorry, someone's calling me out for that. But yeah, no, I'd love to make like a really great superhero powered game sort of thing. I just really like them. There was a DC game version like it, but it wasn't big enough for me. It needs to be bigger. It needs to be bigger than Skyrim.
Yeah.
It needs to be huge.
I feel like an anime styled video game like would be really awesome. Like I feel like
Yeah.
like at least from a stylistic approach, like could you
Yeah.
imagine how it'd be so dope. Like you do have anime games like yeah, like some games based on normal anime and stuff, but for like a pure anime game, like I guess Persona is a pretty good example. I'm pretty sure that one's a good one, but I mean I wouldn't know. But I feel like it would definitely like be really awesome to have like an open world multiplayer anime game where you have powers and stuff. I feel like I could soak a lot of hours into that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I 100% agree. Like, it would be incredible. Like, I really like the look of the Dragon Ball game that came out not long ago. I forgot what it's called. It was at the start of this year, I think it released. But it just the visuals on that game was just so anime style. It was like a 3D rendered anime style, but it just
Yeah.
worked. It just looked really good,
Yeah.
and I really liked it. And I tell you what, I really do like the style of what's it called? Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yes.
I would love to. I love a game like that sort of style as well. With all the
Imagine
comic
a
books.
Spider-Verse game. That would be
Again,
dope.
that would be epic. Yeah.
Like I feel like because with the whole Spider-Man like games on the PS4. I'm not sure if you've got to play.
I have. Yeah, I've got all the DLC for it as well.
Yeah, it is an absolutely astonishing game. I love it. And with the Miles Morales one coming for PS5, like I feel like it'd be really cool to have like a Spider-Verse one. I feel like that'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
Like just because it would just be. I mean, I'm not really sure how they do it, but I'm sure they figure it out.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I assume it would just be some sort of on-the-top filter that creates the effect. To be fair, like it'll be quite 3D rendered, and they have some sort of shader that converts the art to look a bit more cartoony, comic-like.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's probably something that's very far away if it ever came to fruition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine making a game millions and millions. Oh, yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, well, I feel like that's about it, unless anyone throws in a question in the next few seconds. But yeah, Tyler, thanks so much for hanging out with me on this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully we'll have you back sometimes eventually. We'll sort of have to see, maybe for some sort of group thing, something like that. I don't know,
Definitely.
But yeah, everyone, go into the link in the description. You can find his channel there. Subscribe. And yeah, he's got more content coming soon, and he's gonna be dancing on his YouTube channel too.
I'm always dancing apparently, so I thought I'd add it here for you, just for the ending.
Right.
Here we go, everyone.
Yeah, like, you see everyone? There's a dance.
Again, this is my dad dance because I don't know any other move but pumping your hands into the air.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. That's it. This. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. I have to actually
subscribe
press this
for more
button.
dancing.
Yeah.